Welcome to our Government Year in Review 2023. This year flew by so quickly for all of us, but in the last 12 months, a lot has been done. And this series takes a look at each ministry, briefly dissecting their accomplishments and self-evaluating our performance as a government as we continue to work towards our required goals and your expectations. So stay with us as we take you through this series. In 2023, this ministry successfully hosted the Commonwealth Youth Games, but there is so much more going on at the Ministry of Sports and Community Development. It's a very crucial ministry as every day they impact the lives of our young people and our communities. The minister gives us some insight into some of their accomplishments over the last 12 months.
As the Minister of Sport and Community Development, I am delighted to highlight a few of the ministry's achievements during fiscal 2022-2023. We have actively served, supported, and fostered connections with our communities and the sporting fraternity throughout this period. Earlier this year, I led a delegation of sport and education officials on a tour of various sporting institutions and schools in Jamaica, including the world-renowned G.C. Foster College of Physical Education and Sport. That collaboration resulted in the training of over 65 physical education teachers, administrators, and coaches from early childhood, primary, and secondary schools in August. Through this, we are working to cultivate a robust school sporting culture, affording our youngsters access to sporting programs and activities that develop well-rounded student athletes. We launched the pilot project for I Choose Sport TT in July 2023, impacting 420 students in 5 schools. This interactive program seeks to breathe new life into sports in schools across our entire nation. In June, the government passed the anti-doping in sport legislation. This milestone ensures that our national anti-doping legislation is current and fully compliant with international requirements. Over the last year, Trinidad and Tobago solidified its position as a regional sporting hub, hosting a plethora of international and regional sporting events in alignment with our government's sport tourism thrust. Trinidad and Tobago's crowning moment, though, was our ability to successfully host the 7th edition of the Commonwealth Youth Games, welcoming over 1,000 athletes from 71 countries. We made history, seeing the inclusion of para-athletics at these games for the very first time. Our young athletes showcased exceptional talent, proudly representing the red, white, and black, while securing a commendable medal count of 15 medals, allowing us to place 7th among over 71 countries and 1st place in the Caribbean. Government invested over $70 million in funding to national governing bodies, individual athletes, elite athletes, sport serving bodies, and community-based groups. Other grant support included $22 million to vulnerable citizens through the National Commission for Self-Help Limited. Our Shaping Communities program focuses on promoting physical activity and sport at the grassroots level. This year, we extended another successful rounds of our April Pools Learn to Swim initiative to communities across Trinidad and Tobago. We trained 743 participants at our community swimming pools. Our Playable School Days initiative promoted and encouraged para-sports education in an inclusive, fun environment for 342 special needs children across Trinidad and Tobago. This year we saw a beautiful fusion of sport and culture as our sport division and our Best Village unit collaborated to deliver village Olympics and community sport festivals in 6 communities. During the July-August vacation, we delivered sporting camps across 19 disciplines, serving 1,200 campers in Trinidad and 1,031 campers in Tobago. This year, we executed the 5th edition of our Pink Rain campaign, which promotes women and girls in sport. This year, we expanded the Pink Rain campaign by including other sporting disciplines like self-defense, dance, jump rope, and chair. We continue to advance in our efforts to provide quality community spaces throughout our nation. This year, we delivered the Tacarigua Community Center, Maraval Community Center, Bellevue, and Diego Martin Community Centers. These new centers are now equipped with internet cafes, teaching stations, and gyms. As we revitalize our communities for a healthier, more active lifestyle, we completed the Bukma-Latrace Recreational Ground, Marak, and Grand Riviere Recreational Grounds. Citizens can now dive into our state-of-the-art pool facilities as our Mova, Maloney, and Coquille swimming pools were made ready for use once again. We continue to enhance the spaces where legends are born, one facility at a time, as we refurbish the Hazley Crawford Stadium, Mahaika Sports Complex, Dwight York Stadium in Tobago, and as we delivered the Skinner Park Sporting Facility. Our various community development programs continue to create and improve a better quality of life for our citizens. This year, we provided a diverse array of 236 courses in handicraft and skills training, with over 6,984 citizens completing training courses through our community education program. Through our entrepreneurial management and development program, 5 deserving participants were awarded $50,000 each in seed funding to foster the growth and sustainability of their small businesses. This year, we celebrated 60 years of the Prime Minister's Best Village Trophy competition, which saw the return of Junior Best Village program after 3 years with over 980 junior participants. We boast of having over 200 groups registered and participated nationwide in this year's Prime Minister's Best Village Trophy competition. Our Empower TT program was delivered in its entirety for the first time, touching and transforming the lives of over 500 young men across both Trinidad and Tobago. This male empowerment initiative provided a platform for mentorship, education, and much needed support to our menfolk. Through Empower TT, we created safe spaces for men to share experiences and discuss issues pertinent to their development. I want to express my sincerest gratitude to all our stakeholders, community pillars, members of the sporting fraternity, dedicated athletes, and the hard-working staff of the Ministry of Sport and Community Development. Together, we have not just shaped communities, but we've woven a tapestry of strength, resilience, and unity. And I look forward to working and walking with you as we develop our nation, community by community, ensuring that no one is left behind.
Heading a Ministry of Government is a 24/7 call to service. After the Prime Minister, the Attorney General is the only member of Cabinet specifically mentioned in the Constitution, and he's also the principal advisor to the government. Up next, Senator the Honorable Reginald R. Moore, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, updates us on some of the work his office achieved in 2023.
The Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Legal Affairs is continuously involved in multifaceted and complex litigation on behalf of the state and in defending the state. There have been some significant developments in the results of proceedings that have been brought by and defended by the Office of the Attorney General, and in matters generally attended to by my office. Time will not permit me to detail them all. My office is also currently initiating a comprehensive process of reform, re-engineering, and restructuring of the departments of the Chief State Solicitor and the Registrar General's Department as a follow-through on the incisive Justice John Schulera report, culminating in an investigation which I initiated following the disappearance of the Sherwin Peters file. The first meeting has already been held with the heads of all 3 departments. In upholding the government's mandate to tackle the issue of white-collar crime, robust work continues with matters concerning anti-money laundering and combating of terrorist financing. In May 2023, Trinidad and Tobago hosted the 56th Caribbean Financial Action Task Force plenary meeting in Trinidad. I next led a Trinidad and Tobago delegation at the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force Steering Group and Council of Ministers meeting in October 2023 in Miami, followed by the 57th plenary in Aruba in November 2023. Key discussions were held on combating environmental crimes, potential implications of decriminalization of marijuana, and a hybrid suite of AML-CFT legislation. Trinidad and Tobago's leadership at these events is part of the government's firm commitment towards implementing the Financial Action Task Force standards. The Office of the Attorney General and Legal Affairs, through the Office of the Chief Parliamentary Counsel and the Legislative Review Committee, continues to work tirelessly towards the achievement of the government's legislative agenda through the drafting of sound law, policy introductions at the cabinet level, and parliamentary debates to ensure the protection of all citizens and their rights. The Administration of Justice Indictable Proceedings Amendment Act 2023, AJIPA, was proclaimed on December 12, 2023. This act abolishes preliminary inquiries and replaces it with initial and sufficiency hearings to prepare the public and stakeholders for the change in processes after the proclamation of AJIPA. An integrated and all-inclusive approach was undertaken by my office to conduct sensitization sessions in collaboration with the judiciary in the days leading up to the proclamation. Members of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the Law Association, the Criminal Bar Association, the Tobago Lawyers Association, the Assembly of Southern Lawyers, Legal Aid and Advisory Authority, and the Chief Public Defender's Department, as well as the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions and the Judiciary, participated in interactive working sessions to educate and inform the amendments which introduce this groundbreaking achievement. Another progressive piece of legislation recently passed was the Arbitration Act No. 11 of 2023. This act ensures that Trinidad and Tobago is better positioned as a center for international and regional commercial business, and to build the capacity and competence to become a seat of arbitration as the preferred place of international arbitration. In anticipation of a timely proclamation of this act, my office again commenced a sensitization for the public with an arbitration conference which was successfully hosted on December 15th as an outreach mechanism for a diverse range of stakeholders, with the intended purpose of bringing to the fore awareness of and exposure to the Act. The miscellaneous provisions, long title, Registrar General Companies Registration of Business Names and Non-Profit Organizations Bill 2023, was also passed in the Senate on December 12th. The Registrar General's Department remains committed to its proactive approach in delivering excellent ICT support for the computer registration online systems and services, strengthening the support, particularly in cybersecurity matters, as a crucial aspect for bolstering the digital infrastructure across government bodies. To achieve this, the RGD will emphasize a comprehensive implementation of multi-layered cybersecurity measures, inclusive network security, endpoint protection, data security, identity management, incident response, and an ongoing process of staff training. Also, for the first time in the history of any public service office, the Registrar General's Department has accomplished remote and paperless filing. Any individual who is submitting a document on their own behalf is the signatory and has a company's registry account can access this new and efficient way of authorizing documents. This major achievement will aid heavily in the effective and timely filing of documents like applications of name reservations, annual returns, and application of incorporation for profit and non-profit companies. The Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Property Amendment Act 2020 was also proclaimed in May 2023. The procurement laws of Trinidad and Tobago maintain the principles of good governance, transparency, accountability, integrity, and value for money. Through the practice of the art of sound lawmaking, The Act continues to be a work in progress as it was returned to Parliament for further amendments to now include the $1 million threshold. The Attorney General and Legal Affairs Ministry continues to be a partner with local, regional, and international agencies and stakeholders, efficiently representing the government and people of our country. The Criminal Justice Unit and the Corporate Communications Unit of the AGLA are currently in collaboration with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service to sensitize the public on the use, benefits, and parameters of the Public Sex Offender Registry. Another key stakeholder is the United States Embassy. My office continues to work with the U.S. Embassy on a number of matters aimed at improving our criminal justice program. To name a few, the Victim Witness Coordinator Project. This project aims to address gaps within the system and work collaboratively with prosecutors to provide essential support to victims and witnesses of crimes. The Plea Discussion and Plea Agreement Sensitization Campaign. My office is advancing a sensitization campaign to educate the population, particularly prisoners, on the use and benefits of plea discussions and plea agreements. The Case Activity Data System speaks to the establishment and implementation of a case activity system for the use and benefit of the Public Defender's Department of Trinidad and Tobago, the PDD, to support the development and implementation of a case trafficking and data collection system in the PDD. In April 2023, the Government of Trinidad and Tobago hosted a Caribbean Crime Symposium to address the matters of crime as a public health concern. My office continues to and embarks on further and closer collaboration with agencies such as CARICOM Impacts and the nascent but critical issue of autonomous weapon systems. 2 conferences were held, July 2023 and September 2023. The latter conference resulted in the CARICOM Declaration on Autonomous Weapon Systems, AWS, which establishes a common regional position on the regulation of AWS. This declaration was approved by the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago on November 16, 2023, and will be adopted at the next CARICOM Heads of Government meeting. Another deliverable of the Crime Symposium was the reintroduction of work on the CARICOM Arrest Warrant Treaty. The policy for the implementation of this treaty was finalized on May 16, 2023, after consultation with external counsel, and work continues apace with the Office of the Attorney General of Barbados on finalizing the drafting of this treaty, which aims to make the principle of mutual recognition of judicial decisions and judgments the cornerstone of judicial cooperation regionally in criminal matters. My office has also endured through great adversity in 2023. There was, we recall, a major breach in my office's cybersecurity systems in July 2023. Through expert collaboration with the Ministry of Digital Transformation and the sound technical expertise of my ministry's ICT division, there has been a successful recovery. My ministry continues to show resilience in the face of unplanned setbacks, and with our current digitization efforts, our systems have been upgraded and modernized to maintain optimum security and efficient service. On behalf of myself, the senior executive management team of the Office of Attorney General and Ministry of Legal Affairs, staff and colleagues, I would like to extend a Happy New Year to everyone and to thank my team and colleagues for their great support this year. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Faris Al-Rawi, Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, and I'm here with you for another year's recap for things that have happened in Trinidad with our ministry. As you know, last year we had a significant amount of rainfall. We had talk of reform. We had a local government election. Inside of all of the focus on the field of local government, there are statistics that show that Trinidad and Tobago can look at the work that we've done in Trinidad at the ministry and feel that there's a sense of relief. Last year, we received approximately $2.3 billion. And in that $2.3 billion, I'm very pleased to report to the nation that we saw the creation of 6,996 jobs, real jobs. We also saw with that 536 actual projects completed. with a total of 377 projects still ongoing. That resulted in a material benefit to 745,000 of our citizens in Trinidad. The ministry comprises 17 entities, the 14 corporations, the Rural Development Company, the CPEP Company, and then we like to think of our municipal police as a separate part, because how we feel in terms of security is important to us. We have spent a significant amount of time engaged in reform. It's true to say that we did the legislative reform. With the guidance of the Privy Council, we know what the parameters of that reform looks like, and we're able to say that the job completing last year's annual year into this year is to operationalize or turn on local government reform. That means that the move towards full package of working laws that we passed in 2022 will become a reality. Advice will come to the Cabinet, and Cabinet will make certain decisions based upon the law as to how we move to eventually full-time councillors, how we operationalize the standing committees to bring lives. But all of this comes with the footing of a promise for increased revenue. Now, this revenue is to be funded by a very modest form of contribution of each citizen in Trinidad, and that involves the property tax. Taken at its lowest, it may be at $0 or $3 per day, probably at highest somewhere close to $10 per day. But that results in tens, 20s, 30s of millions of dollars to each and every corporation, which means better collection, which means better services, which means more jobs. We're very proud to say that in the last year completed, we engaged in heavy relief in our disaster management units. We saw the effects of significant rainfall last November being managed through an aggressive form of disaster management in coordination with the Office of the Prime Minister's end of the ODPM in conjunction with the Ministry of National Security, Ministry of Social Services. Thousands of persons received relief. We also saw the bring on of a further 230 odd municipal policemen and women to be trained, moving the number up from 831 people to over 1,000 in a couple of months' time. With that, we get to turn on virtual communities. We get to have better policing in our environment. But all of this is intended to come in the form of local government reform via technology. And with last year's work meeting this year's work, we will have apps so that every citizen has a chance to log on, report their issues, and track their issues from the comfort of their homes. No more lost paper, no more waiting to find out what happened to your requests. So the ministry has very much engaged itself in a new Trinidad and Tobago. In a new Trinidad and Tobago, in our responsibility in Trinidad, the THA having responsibility for Tobago, we promise repeat and more jobs than we saw last year. We have set ourselves a target to beat that 6,996 jobs. We have set a target this year to beat serving 745,000 people positively. We've set a target for digitization so that services can be reached to every citizen in every place at the right time. On behalf of the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government, it gives me great pleasure to say thank you to the very many people that comprise us. We are 30,000 strong. We call ourselves local government. It's why each of us wear the tags that we do, saying, I am local government. From the ministry, from my personal portion of contribution, and from my family, I wish to say Merry Christmas to Trinidad and Tobago, a bright and prosperous new year as we celebrate the work that will come whilst having gratitude for that which we have accomplished. God bless us all.
Thank you for watching. Join me as we wrap up 2023 in our next episode of Government Year in Review 2023.